the Mist with me, your host, Ed. This is a Voidiverse Theory podcast where we look at the lore and try to understand how it all works. In this episode, we'll be looking at the Centre of Midgard. Oh my god. O-M Jesus. O-M bananas. Oh no. Oh yes. That's right. We're back. I'm here. You're listening. I'm recovering from an illness. It's going great. They're great. Oh, hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello. This time we don't actually have much housekeeping to get through because reasons which I'll make clear in next month's episode. We're skipping the question from last month, this month, and we're going to do it next month. It will make sense why when we get there, but I'll explain it then. So just remember, I exist on social media as @through_mist on Instagram. If you want to say hello and become part of the Mistbusters, do it over there. Thank you. So, wonderful, musical, magical times. Today, we will be talking about the Centre of Midgard, aka Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America. Yeah, so that's the topic, boys and girls and Mistbusters in betweens. That is what we are going to be indulging in this fine insert your time of day here. That is what we're going to be indulging in. So let's start. So we're going to start off by talking about what we mean, but like the Centre of Midgard, what? We're talking about the magical entrances between realms, and specifically Midgard, Boston being like the point for the World Tree. Sorry, I said I was recovering from a cold, so there might be some weird cuts and edits while I'm just trying to chop out noises I made. Yes, the World Tree plants itself down in Boston, and somehow that's the centre of there, and it makes a very good entry and exit point for entrances between realms. So I started off the research by having a look into the travel between realms and how it works in the myths and stuff, because I felt like that was a good place to start. And the issue is we're dealing with Norse mythology is that's our main issue. They just kind of travel between realms. They don't like necessarily do it in any fancy way. They just do. They just are not. They just move. They just dance around. So that's really useful. And obviously there's the Bifrost, which I didn't bother digging into because I went, in pop culture at least, it's Midgard to Asgard, therefore bye-bye, I don't care about you, you can bugger off, thank you very much. Yeah, they just kind of don't exist as realms, and like the whole realm thing's complicated anyway because Norse mythology. So like, and then there's the theories about the myths and the realms, and they're actually just like the Sahara Desert. That's probably a bit too far, but and just Greenland. They're just like distant places that are not the Nordics. So that's kind of I did find one source that was saying like they had to cross bodies of water to get between them. But yeah, what this basically means is that the myths aren't helpful at all because Norse mythology, and we have, in comparison to the other two, bugger all. So the myths aren't going to be helpful in this context, and we don't have enough clear sources to like help work us out why Boston is like the ultimate spot for world traveling, because there's no clear way how they world traveled in myth, so there's no clear distinction to make against how Rick does world traveling in the books, which is tickety boo. Without having that question ramble at the start, the timings on this recording are all off and it's throwing me. This is going to be a short boy, Boston history. So if like myths aren't going to be helpful, we're going to have to just plainly ignore them. What about the history of Boston? And what about real world history? And there's this one thing we do need to get clear before we like go any further. Is unlike in Rick's books and how the world works, unlike Greco-Roman mythology, the site does not move with Western civilization. No, it doesn't move. It's always been Boston. Boston has always been the hub for the World Tree. It's Boston, Massachusetts, and always has been Boston, Massachusetts, not Boston, a port town in the UK somewhere. I'm pretty sure that was right, wasn't it? Boston, UK. Boston, UK. Oh, no, it's not a port town. I absolutely lied. Well, maybe... Yeah, nah, close enough. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a port town. But it's definitely close enough. Yeah. Next to Skeg. Between Skegness and King's Lynn, for people that want to know. Ugh, Skeggy. Anyway, what was I on about? Oh, yeah. That's just like something we need to just clear up right now. Just make sure everyone's on the same page about this thing. Okay? So, what I thought is there's this, and it's alluded to in the books, the whole like history of the Vikings and Boston thing. The Vikings coming as far as Boston, you know? And so I was like, okay, let's do some searching about this. So what I managed to gather, information-wise, is there's definitely a consensus that the Vikings 100% made it to the Americas. People are very, very confident that the Vikings made it to the Americas. It seems like there's a consensus around this fact. However, the only confirmed place that they've made it outside of Greenland is the northern tip of Newfoundland, the island, in Canada. And like the northern tip that's as far south as they've got. Far south as they've definitely got is the northern tip of Newfoundland, the island, in Canada. But they've probably explored definitely a little further south, because like you're not going to just get to the northern tip and not explore the rest of the island. That's just madness. In the grand schemes of the thing of them crossing the Atlantic, that is just small island. You know, it's like you know. So why not them doing that? They made it across the Atlantic. God damn it. They're going to do this thing, aren't they? What's unclear is how far south they actually went. It does seem that the spot, the spot, which is, I'm going to attempt what is clearly French. L'Anse-Ours. No, that was very German. L'Anse. Let me get in my French accent. Oui, oui. Oui, oui. L'Anse. No, I don't know. Do the ach. Ach. It's not a sound in French. It's not a sound in French. I'm sorry to any French people listening. I am very sorry. Or French speakers, because this is Canadian French. But it's l'Anse. I don't know how you do an X in French. That's what's come for aux. Aux. Do the X sound. L'Anse-aux Meadows. L'Anse-aux Meadows. Yes, L'Anse-aux Meadows. L'Anse-aux Meadows. That's what we'll go with. And that is very English butchered. But you know what? We did that to the French language to start with. À la beef. Vive la révolution. See, you know, those ruddy Normans and their Norman French and their French poshness. Sorry. Again, very sorry to any French out there listening. Yeah, so that place, the most northern tip of Newfoundland, the island, the Meadows place, as it is known. I got very distracted. Okay. That place, as it is known, is thought to be. Oh, holy moly! Oh, Ladybug and Cat Noir, do not come at me. Okay, so the city of love. What is it? What is this? Well, hang on. What's the Phineas and Ferb song? Isabella, City of Love. That is, I can't spell Isabella. The City of Love. Okay, here we go. Turn up.
So, Phineas, what do you think of the city of to relax?
That already means it's a sail. Or, a parachute, depending on how things go.
There was slightly at the time.
Still got pieces of that hanging around. The rivets are coming handy.
Boom, in the city of love, in the city of love, in the city of love, in the city. Go fur. I'm shouting over this. Partly, I don't know how well this is going to come through. I might edit this really weird, but this whole thing's going in, and I'm talking over it to stop copyright. Because, it's in the city of fly, in the city, yo. It's the remix. Oh, I did that. Hey, that's my balloon! Oh, what a series. Anyway, where was I? Oh, absolutely butchering French. That's what I was doing. And then giggling about it. Oh, guys. Now, guys. I am sorry for whatever you just witnessed. But just know that they may have explored further south. And who knows? There's no evidence for them going... disputed how far south they actually go from Meadows. And in the books, they got as far as Boston. And to be honest, that's all we really need to care about. That absolutely maniac thing that was probably going to get cut down.
It didn't.
Caught up to my timings, so I feel a lot more comfortable. Like, why have I done all this Boston talk and whatnot? Well, we'll get to the crux of this now, which is we're talking about the Centre of Midgard and what this is. And well, so clearly after everything I've done and all this such, like, it's just a wild wikism that probably only exists because he lives in Boston. Like, And to be honest, there's probably not more to it than that. However, that is not why we are here. That is not why we do what we do. That is not why you, dear listener, are listening with your ears and with this podcast. This is not why I am going slowly mad and slowly destroying my way of thinking. But that and other reasons. But we are here to make an effort to partake in wondrous speculation and try to make Rick's crazy fun for the Lowe's ideas make logical sense, as no one, and I mean no one, has been able to achieve this goal as well as we have as a collective, and we will never give up, we will never surrender, and we will live strong in the minds of absolutely no one, because there's no one listening. That's a lie, there's about 30 of you. That's probably too much of you, to be honest. Shout out to the crew. I only know of one of you for certain. Well, two of you. I know two of you for certain. One, they're a regular feature, and the other makes wondrous memes. Anyway, back to the wondrous speculation. So, where is this? Where specifically are we talking about? Where specifically are we talking about in Boston? Well, we're talking about the Make Way for the Duck statue. That is specifically the Centre of Midgard, which is at 42.3555 degrees north, 71.0698 degrees west. I am really bad at reading numbers. And it's 2 meters above sea level. Facts from Google. Yeah. Now, we must, if you do not understand how latitude and longitude work, we're just going to give you a quick, very basic summary. And that is longitude. Longitude just is made up. We picked a zero. The British won again. It was the British v the French. And the British won. The French didn't want to believe we won, but we won. And then America made GPS and shoved the zero along a bit, by about 58 meters, because up's different. I watched a stand-up maths video on this. I was very interested. I may link it in the description. However, latitude makes much more sense, because what we did is we went, do you know what? The equator, that like midpoint between the poles, the axis of rotation, like the furthest you could, like, yeah, we'll make that zero. And like, just, it makes sense. You look at a circle, it's spinning in a direction, you go, okay, where's the middle? Well, we'll go between the halfway between the axis of rotation, and we'll just cut a line. That's clearly halfway. That makes perfect sense, you know? Wonderful, love it. All things great and small. All things white and beautiful. However, it's not a very useful way to make Boston the centre, is it? Like, we can shuffle longitude. That doesn't matter. I can just go, well, the true zero is Boston. It's done. Tick, box, done. That makes that zero. How do you nicely make latitude zero around Boston? You don't. You're dumb. Over. Game over. Boom. Move on to the next one. 2 meters above sea level, you say? Well, the highest point above sea level is 8,849 meters, and the deepest point of the Pacific Ocean is 11,034 meters down. So, the median point between the highest point and the deepest point is minus 1092.5 meters, 0 being sea level. Again, thanks, Rick. Thank you. Why did you do this? That's a kilometer below sea level, and we're 2 meters. We're just above it. Why did you do this to me, Rick? Why did you do this to me? What if we can make it a fun antipode? You know, like direct opposite through. No, that doesn't work. Just in the middle of the ocean, just off the coast of Australia. Like, when I say just off, I mean like a good distance off the coast of Australia. Can we make the latitude lines like similar to like the Nordic country? No. Again, latitude is closer to Rome than it is Oslo. That's, again, really not helpful, Rick. Really not helpful. Oh, I know. The geographical center of the world, like Earth, like if you took all the bits of above water and you made a dot, and you like found the like center of the shape, but there's null shape in it. Center. If everything was perfectly flat, it was like and you found the center of mass of these shapes, where would that be? Oh. It's like around Turkey or Egypt. There was debate. It's a very difficult calculation, because it's impossible to perfectly map out an area, because a land to sea boundary is basically infinite. It's clearly not, but it's measurably infinite until you get to the atomic level, and then it becomes non-infinite. So how precise you can get to it. Oh, okay, so it doesn't make sense. Okay. So if we were like that, and it doesn't make sense if it's like Egypt, Turkey, like that zone of the world, Now, which makes sense if you look at a map. What about Pangea? Because we're talking about the world as it currently is. But no. This is the world tree point. The point's never moved. World tree stayed where it is, baby. So, what about Pangea? Oh. That's like more Congo-y. It's hard to explain, but it's like if you picture the current world map and you see how Africa and South America kind of slot into each other. Yeah, where those two would slot around Congo and then North America kind of folds on top of Africa. So it doesn't kind of work. No. There's not really a good argument to call Boston the center. It just doesn't really work. There is a bad argument to be made because with the timelines and we're dealing with, it's relatively close enough where the amount of error that was in this simulation, timescales, error, you don't need a small error to be wildly off. If your timeline's bigger, the bigger the number, the smaller the smaller the error needs to be wildly off. If you're on a compass and you put degrees and then you walk a meter, if you're a degree off, you walk a meter, you're nowhere. You're right next door where you're supposed to be. If you walk 100 meters, you're 3 meters away from where you're supposed to be. Expound that. So yeah, really unhelpful in many ways. So what are we gonna do about this? Mate, that is the most insert handbrake here thing I think I've ever done. We're just right in your edge of your seats. Okay, so last bit now. We're on the final hurdle of this frankly crazy and just hive mind of a blurt of an episode. I don't know what word to describe this episode, but it's not been cohesive. It's a very uncohesive yet very cohesive episode because I feel like the uncohesiveness has made it. It's how I felt researching this. Anyway, so what I'm gonna have to do before we go any further is I need to have to get you. You're gonna have to actually, for once, we're gonna actually have to get the tinfoil hats out because I know usually we kind of go off the rails, but this time we're going off the rails, and we had that ever thing I mentioned. We're using that to our advantage, baby. We're going to put our tinfoil hat on and we're going to go, I'm assuming you're wrong to a degree, but still mostly right. So, in the time of Pangea, Boston kind of sat on the equator. That made if Boston was on the equator, that would zero out our latitude, and then we just boom, zero longitude, because like I said, it's arbitrary number. I do want to clarify before we go any further that yes, according to all the stuff I've seen, it looks like the equator is more like the northern border of Florida than Boston, but again, we're making this work, god damn it! Anyway, so boom, 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 and when Pangea existed, it's when the animals kind of came and the plants arrived and Midgard became Midgard, and then the world tree went boom right in the center of it, and then it planted, and it's like a plant, so it plants to the it moved, the rocks, and then the tectonic plates went, but the tree went, I'm not leaving my rock, and it went, but obviously the rock is probably actually got has the rock got destroyed? Has convection taken that rock back into the ground yet? Who knows? But still, it moved. When it first arrived, Boston was the center of Midgard. But now, millions of years later, maybe billions. I don't know the timescales of this. It moved and is now where Boston is. Boom! Therefore, meaning Boston was once the centre of Midgard. Therefore, when the World Tree planted itself in Midgard, it was the centre of Midgard. Thank you. I know I did it. I can't believe I was about to give up. I was fully about to just throw in the towel, go, well, Rick's done it. Rick has finally beaten me. I cannot explain this one. However, I searched where the equator is on Pangea, and by Jove did it didn't help. By Jove did we make that work for us. We got it working. It did it. Because we went Florida to Boston in that configuration. That's everable. That is. I can go, that's everable. You know? Boom. Boston, centre of Midgard. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We have achieved greatness. Greatness that will never be beaten. Thank you for indulging this theory. If any comments on this theory or theories you only want me to discuss, you can email them through through.t.mist@gmail.com, or you can follow the Instagrams @through_mist. Make sure to follow the podcast, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, do whatever you have to do to help get the podcast out there. I've been Owen, and come back next time as we try to see through the mist!